So do y'all remember when Wagner Group was evicted from Russia and sent to Belarus, and a lot of the Russian supporters said it was all a part of the plan, that they were just redeploying to Belarus so that they could once again invade Ukraine from Belarusian territory, or potentially it was some situation where they would set up to train Belarusian forces to attack Poland or cross the Suwalki Gap, all of which were ridiculous. And I've said so over and over again. We have nothing to worry about when it comes to Belarus or Wagner Group. And that is further proven by what is going on right now with Wagner Group, as they are apparently being kicked out of Belarus. Thousands of its fighters are being bussed back to Russia. Alexander Lukashenko is reporting to have refused to finance Wagner Group's stay in his country. They're being taken by bus from Belarus back to Rostov and Krasnodar in Russia in batches of like 500 and 600 personnel. No word on what happens to them when they get to Russia. This is a withdrawal that has been taking place for a couple weeks now, and a major secondary push to move Wagner fighters to Russia is supposed to begin on the 13th of August. Now, Lukashenko is refusing to pay for Wagner Group's presence in Belarus because he feels that they were doing a favor to Russia by bringing him there and somewhat easing the tensions between Wagner Group and the Kremlin. But instead, Moscow has said they're not funding it, despite the fact that that's what Lukashenko expected. A small number of Wagner fighters are expected to stay in Belarus as military instructors, but the remaining thousands of them are going to be moving back to Russia. Around 500 of them, who were a part of the Battle of Bakhmut, are reported to be volunteering to go to Libya. They're paid pretty good to go to Libya, somewhere around 5,000 rubles $5,000 per month, which is a pretty significant sum of nearly 500,000 rubles. So additional fighters might be headed to Niger and other places in Africa as well. Now, the rest of Wagner Group is officially described as being, quote, sent on vacation, and there's been no talks about them returning to Belarus or what their status in Russia is. They're effectively in limbo at this point. They have been ordered to stay in touch with the leadership in case new tasks are assigned, but Wagner is no longer recruiting new members. And this comes after a NATO alliance spokesperson said in an interview with Polish news agencies on August 8th that Wagner mercenaries don't pose any threat to NATO. They don't represent a direct or indirect threat to Poland or Lithuania, Latvia, any of the Baltic nations, in the neighborhood, but NATO is closely monitoring the situation. So for those that were saying this is just 4D chess of Russia or alluding to it, that they're moving Wagner fighters over to Belarus for future operations to Ukraine, yet again, you're wrong. It's just a Mickey Mouse organization that is being ran by two other Mickey Mouse organizations in the Kremlin and Lukashenko's regime. So we'll continue to see what happens. More than likely, they'll largely just conduct operations as their original mercenary task, conducting operations in Africa.